Hello friends, thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button, give us a like, we appreciate it dearly. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
We got some NFL predictions, some NFL hot topics to get into, but let's start off with CFL Week 17 action, starting off with Friday Night Football. Only 3 games this week, a few teams on a bye. Hamilton at Montreal. I'm going to take Hamilton on the road, my friend, even though that's kicked me in the ass all year long to pick them after a win. Yeah, that's true. Oh, this whooped my ass. But I'm going to take Hamilton, riding off of last week that this could be the turn of something good in Hamilton and Dane Evans. And it's clicked. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm going to go opposite of you. I'm going to go with Montreal. Just to state, we were 0-3 in our picks last week.
Oh, you didn't need to state that. No one was asking. He just offered that information. That's embarrassing. 0-3. Couldn't get one right.
0-3.
But they were all underdog. It was crazy. Lots of people went 0-3 because it was that kind of week. Gotta love CFL football.
I mean, the only, you figured Saskatchewan was beating Edmonton. You figured Winnipeg was beating Hamilton, right?
Oh, for sure.
And I guess BC Calgary was more of a toss-up, but you still thought Calgary had the upper hand. So
at home,
yeah, exactly. And it was a close game, but that's just the way it went. So, well, one of us is going to be right here, I guess, unless this game ends in a tie. So,
yay! and then none of the 3 games were under 50 points combined.
No. That was a good week.
Football.
I mean, there's some good close game. Well, I mean, Winnipeg made their game close, but Saskatchewan Edmonton was a close game right down to the wire. BC Calgary, right?
Yeah.
So good
Winnipeg
games all
Hamilton
around.
was good till about 7 minutes left in the fourth.
Yeah, once Winnipeg pulled within 10, you're like, okay, this is gonna be a good ending here. But then Hamilton, just that crazy drive that Winnipeg's done to many teams.
Yeah.
This year they did it to Winnipeg. So
they imposed their will.
Hamilton needs to win this game, obviously, to keep their hopes alive.
Yeah.
The series is 1-1. They lose this game. They lose the season series. And now you're 2 games back. So that's going to make it tough. Montreal, off of bye week, they've won 3 of 4. But like you say, Hamilton was impressive. Don Jackson's practicing in full, so they'll have him back.
Ooh,
so
that's so good.
But we'll see. Dane Evans, 1 good game so far this year. Can he put 2 together? I don't know.
If the O-line can keep him upright and untouched, I think he can. That guy, 5 touchdowns, and it was flawless, no turnovers because he wasn't touched.
No mistakes really or anything like that. So
and they're playing probably the best defensive line in the league.
Yeah, and they didn't even get a sniff. The Bombers did not get a sniff at all. So
that D-line was healthy going into the game.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Hopefully Jeffco comes out of the bye healthy. Trevor Harris has been good against Hamilton, though. 670 yards, 4-1 TD to interception ratio. So he's gonna have to be good. And if Montreal's D line could get pressure on Evans, it'll be a tough game for Hamilton.
Over under attendance at the Montreal game, 17.5. What are you taking? Over or the under?
How much does it hold? Do you know altogether?
Well, they've been struggling to get 20,000. I don't think heavier than 21,000.
This is the game. Gary Stern's been all over Twitter. Him and caretaker Bob going back and forth.
Yeah.
I expect over. I'm
all righty
over on that one.
I like that optimism. I'll take your over as well.
Yeah. It's a big game.
It is. Another big game here. Toronto, Ottawa, the Battle of Ontario, the capital city of Ontario versus the capital city of Canada. Ottawa is at home. Is that right? Toronto's the capital city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it? Yes.
That would have sucked if that was wrong.
This is a long time from school here.
Yeah. Shout out to geography. Oh my goodness.
Mr. Gunther.
That was a good time. Toronto and Ottawa. Who are you taking on this one?
I'm probably going to get this one wrong too because I can never predict these properly. I'm going to go with Toronto. Yes. They're on 3 straight wins, although they're probably due for some kind of letdown game, and this is probably going to be it.
No doubt, eh?
Ottawa can't win at home. I don't expect them to start this week, and I basically expect this to be the end of Ottawa's playoff chances, really.
And the end of Paulo Police, pretty much in theory. They're not going to fire him this late. That would be pointless. But I think I also, because Ottawa is at home, I will take Toronto. And they're just a better team roster wise, and they got it a bit. They got They got it together much more than Ottawa does.
Yeah, and you want to see if they can keep it going after the bye week. They played each other before the bye week, and McLeod Bethel Thompson actually looked pretty good.
Steady.
Over 350 yards. And I don't think any turnovers or anything like that. So
1 touchdown?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a low scoring. There was a lot of offense on both sides of the ball, or a lot of yards anyways, but there was a low scoring game. I think it was like 25-19 or something like that, right? So there wasn't a lot there, but like you say with Lapo, I mean, unless he can get on some kind of run here and finish respectable, he's probably done after this season.
Yeah, they'll need some turnovers from McLeod Bethel Thompson to be competitive. And their defense might be able to do that. They have a decent defense.
They're good at the turnovers. They're not necessarily great at limiting the yards, though, and stuff like that. So if they can force McLeod into a few mistakes, then they got a chance. But they can't win at home either. So, I mean,
let's be honest. The Bombers are also a team that allows a lot of yards and limits the scores. But we can score. Who's we? Yeah. I'm not on the field. They can score.
You weren't on there last time? Maybe that's why they got their butts kicked last week.
I was on the IR, bro. I was on the IR, and I can't go back. Sorry. Can't go for the run. This is a big matchup.
Yes.
A back-to-back with Calgary and BC, this time in the Dome. I'm going with BC at home in this one. They have the momentum from last week. And like we mentioned last week, they're going to be able to add a few wrinkles and new plays that Calgary won't be able to see on film with Vernon Adams as his playbook grows. So I'm going to take BC at home. And Butler, again, have a big game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Calgary because they can't lose a 6th game to teams in front of them and expect to do well in the playoffs. So I feel like they'll come out roaring. The only thing is they're without Cameron Judge this time. He got suspended 1 game for that brouhaha with Lucky Whitehead there. And Kadeem Carey and Malik Henry both on the injury report. One with a calf issue and one with an illness. So as long as they play, I'm going to put Calgary and coming away because they've had 2 close games. Yeah. And they've already lost the season series. They lose this game, they're basically, chances of hosting that West semi are done.
This is huge
because you're going to be down in the series and you're down 2 games. So they need to win this game. They need to come out firing.
Screw that. Defense needs to be better though. I'm cheering for BC though. Because if BC wins, Bombers can sit their feet up and know that they at least have a home playoff game. BC beats Calgary, so I'll be cheering for them.
Yeah, it'll make those last 2 games for the Bombers and BC pretty interesting if BC does win and only a couple wins behind. So
very much,
probably more than I probably want it to be. I'd rather the Bombers wrap it up, but if it makes the last few games of the season interesting, I'll take that too.
Good. A couple Bomber notes before we move on to the NFL. Drew Desjardins released. Coming back, not coming back. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I saw something that he's not coming back anyways, or he's still going to be looking for opportunities, and he'll probably get opportunities, man. All you got to do is get back on some kind of practice roster, and you're making some wicked coin out there.
Exactly. O-linemen go down.
Yeah.
And he's a good one to have on the practice roster, so why not wait it out a bit?
At least for this year, see where it goes even next year, and then you could always come back to the CFL later on, man. But
I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No hate here. All wishing him the best.
Yeah,
that he finds another spot. We talked about secondary troubles, the injuries. Hopefully, Houston will be back. The Bombers went out and got Raleigh Texada out of Baylor. He was signed by the Packers, and we're just hoping. He also worked out for the Dolphins. We're hoping that there's some more Ted Govea, Danny McManus magic happening here?
Yeah, we got to hope so because hopefully DeMario Houston is back. Did the trade deadline pass in the CFL yet?
That's a funny thing. It just does it? It must have.
I haven't heard anything about it. So you think we would have heard something? No, I don't think so.
We got to check that out. When is the official week 10?
No, it's got to be later. Like I didn't hear anything.
In NFL, it's week 6.
Yeah, it's early. But I thought the CFL was later because when did we trade for or get Castillo last year? It was pretty late in the season, wasn't it?
No, was it?
Yeah, I feel like it was in the last few games. Like it's got to be coming up soon if it hasn't.
Did they trade for him, or wasn't he available because he got cut by the Jets a while ago and he was sitting around? I think he was an NFL cut and he was sitting around. It was a while ago, though.
Yeah, well,
We'll have to do research on that, and we'll have to do research on when the CFL deadline is, because we're the best fans in the world, apparently.
But if it hasn't passed yet, I would maybe expect the Bombers to look for a DB there, someone with some CFL experience that they could bring in to shore up that back end.
We'll see.
And maybe with Bradley Alexander getting more of his game legs back and his mind back in it, and maybe that'll help as well, because he didn't have the greatest game. But how do you blame the guy's first game in how many months now? Yeah. And then with since the D-line getting no pressure, right? So yeah,
he hasn't been running on that thing since Grey Cup.
Just under a year or 10 months, I guess, altogether.
Yeah,
or September. Yeah.
Is it beneficial for the Bombers to have buys this late in the season? This many? Is it good or bad? I know it's good for injuries, but it could be bad for momentum.
Maybe not this many, because if they win the West, they're getting another bye, right?
Yeah.
So then that's another break in between. So it gets you off your rhythm, and you never get into that rhythm. I would have liked one earlier in the season, and maybe a couple right now, but
yeah.
Maybe this is probably a little bit too much, since their first one was week 10 or after week 10.
Yeah.
And now 3 over the last 8. So it's a little bit too much, and hopefully they can keep that rhythm going and not get out of that system that they've been in. So I'm worried I'm not a huge fan of it. Totally.
I'm worried more about the offense and the defense. I feel defense is they're such veterans, and they're not as much change as the offense went through.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the defense, but it is the offense, especially after what happened last week.
Yeah, I think the defense actually probably welcomes this, because they seem more beat up than the offense. I know we've lost a few receivers here and there, but that D's taking some big hits, and even it's good for Big Hill and Jefferson and all those guys. Even Jeff Code, obviously, with the injury, to get that break. So
absolutely,
maybe it'll help them a little bit more, the older veteran guys.
Yeah, and hopefully they can lock up another game, and they'd be sitting anyways or playing less going into the last couple games.
Well, that's the thing too. If they wrap up the West,
yeah,
you got the buys still, and then you're probably going to rest guys, maybe full games or half a games at least, right?
O'Shea will have to manage it. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Is that O'Shea coaching magic?
Good problem to have, I guess.
Absolutely. We're not complaining.
No,
we're not complaining. We're just talking.
Yes.
Let's move on to some NFL hot topics. Sean Payton, a little bit of buzz, maybe interested in a 2023 return. Which team or teams would you see being a best fit for him?
Well, if to me, depending on what Dallas does with McCarthy this year, I think he'd be a good fit there.
Yeah.
Can he get along with Jerry Jones? That could be an issue, but I can see it. I can see him. Dallas for the most part has some pretty good players. Prescott was okay in his first one off the injured, but I think Dallas would be a good fit.
If Bill Parcells can get along with Jerry Jones for a few years, I think almost anybody can get along with Jerry Jones for maybe not Bill Belichick. Maybe not Bill Belichick.
No.
I could see him with. I'll go through a couple of teams quickly. The Cardinals, if they failed this year, I think Cliff Kingsbury would be gone. I think he'd be actually really good with Kyler Murray. Get him in the books. The Jets might be a good destination. They have a good young offense. They always have a solid defensive talent on the Jets. The Colts, because Frank Reich, he's stinking it up there. He's stinking it up there. Supposed to be contenders.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they got rid of Carson Wentz last year because he was an issue, but you're 0-1-1 right now, and he didn't score any points last week. Like, if you looked at their schedule, you're thinking, okay, we got Houston, Jacksonville coming up 2-0 to start, right?
Yeah.
No.
Jacksonville. And they got shut out last week.
Shut out against Jacksonville.
Yeah. Speaking of Frank Reich, I have him in Indianapolis being on the hot seat after 2 weeks. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that one for sure, because he's supposed to have a good team. You got Matt Ryan in there. I know they had some injuries on receiver last week, but that's no excuse for week 1 when you could barely manage a tie against Houston.
Jacksonville. Those should be bonus spots.
And then get shut out. Yeah. So he is definitely probably at the top of my list.
Yeah.
I'm going to include, again, Matt Rule there in Carolina as well, because they've started off the season 0-2.
Yeah.
And you played the Giants. That's a winnable game. Even the Cleveland game, it was another winnable game without Deshaun Watson there or whatever. And you're starting off 0-2. That's not boding well for the rest of the season when you still got to play Tampa, New Orleans kind of thing in your own division.
Yeah.
So.
Goodness gracious.
But yeah, it's weird because you're talking about a hot seat after only 2 weeks, but you got to look at those things because, Jim Irsay especially, he's not going to handle if they drop the 0-3 or 0-4.
Expectations were there, and you lost against the two supposedly worst teams in your own division. That's the
other thing I didn't even think of. Divisional games, too. Yeah. You lost them both.
Jeez.
And that's coming off not making the playoffs last year because you lost to Jacksonville in the last game of the season.
Yeah, that coach has got to go, I think.
Yeah.
That was a sign that coach has got to go.
It's not just Carson Wentz was the issue. It could be the coaching as well. So
yeah, let's talk about another quarterback, your boy Russell Wilson. Is he still Russell Wilson? I don't think he was Russell Wilson, the Russell Wilson we know last year.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he's on the downward spiral as well. And a lot of it was last year. Well, okay, he doesn't have a good O-line. He doesn't have a good offensive system. He had two wicked wide receivers in Lockett and Metcalf last year.
Absolutely.
And he still couldn't really get it going. And now he's got a decent O-line, good running game, two good running backs, two good wide receivers, good tight end. And he's racking up the yards. But Denver as a whole, and maybe Hackett's another one that, won't be able to cut it in the NFL. And by the end of the season, he could be gone. Nathaniel Hackett, the coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, he should be, they should be putting more points on the board.
Absolutely.
Right? And he's missing open receivers too.
Well, the thing, I read this great article actually on Russell Wilson, and he mentioned how, what great tight end has he played with? Jimmy Graham early in his career because he went to the middle of the field, and then he stopped going to the middle of the field and was going to the wideouts.
Yeah.
Long balls. He was the best long ball thrower in the league. He can't do that no more. It's just like with age. Tom Brady wasn't a great long ball thrower to begin with, but still a great arm. He's obviously modified his game where he's not throwing the deep ball as much. So he's failed to do that, and apparently he's just pushing offensive coordinators around saying this is what he wants. That's his playbook. So that could be trouble.
Yeah, the biggest thing for him with those long balls is he could get out of that pocket and open up enough space, set up, and chuck it downfield. Mm-hmm. He's a lot slower than he was. So him getting out of that pocket and even getting out to the outside is not working. And then even by the time he sets it up to chuck it downfield, he's getting caught as well. So
yeah, throw to Noah Fant. He's a great tight end.
Yeah, well, no offense in Seattle. He got traded for Wilson.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Who's their tight end now?
They got that, what's his name? I think his name is Albert, and he's got a long last name, so he's usually just called Albert O. Or I can't even say his last name or whatever. So
that's funny because I took Noah Fant last week in fantasy, and I must not looked at the team logo under the impression that he was still there. Son of a gun.
He's with Geno.
It's week
Smith
2.
now.
It's week 2. Give me some time. Give me some time. They need a new. If they wanted to do short passes, I'd be more than willing to trade Matt Canada to Denver. Get his ass out, bro. Get his ass out. It's pissing me off.
The funny thing is he has the short passes sometimes, and he has his running backs. He's thrown to a lot, but he's just missing them too. Like even in that first game, he had Jerry Jeudy wide open. Instead, he went to the running back to the side who got less yards, and Jeudy would have had more than enough for that stupid field goal. But
you're not helping me get rid of Matt Canada here, man. You're not helping me get rid of Matt Canada. Which 0-2 team has the best chance to make the playoffs?
You know what? I was looking at this, and it's hard to see. I'm going to go with probably Cincinnati.
For sure.
Just because that division is probably going to be a lot more even than we expected or anything like that. Like Cleveland's not running away with it. Baltimore is not. Pittsburgh and Cleveland tonight, they're going at it, and it's a close game. Whereas, Pittsburgh's, they need TJ Watt, helps that D a lot and helps that team a lot. And Trubisky's got to, like you say, Matt Canada's got to open up that offense a bit. But for me, I was looking at it and I'm probably thinking Cincinnati. I was thinking Vegas should be better than 0-2, but they got a tough division and an 0-2 hole and a tough schedule coming up.
And they have Josh McDaniel.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to be able to dig out of that 0-2 hole. Titans, no, probably not. And the only thing the Titans might get away with is winning that division at maybe 8-9 or 9-8.
That's the worst division in football.
Yeah.
The worst. I also have the Bengals. They do have the O-line troubles, but I also mentioned last week that I think they'll get it together. Maybe they'll game plan and leave a running back there to chip or a blocking TE just until the O-line solidifies. Because I think the talent's there. It's just, they need some more reps up, obviously. Hopefully that's the problem. Or else Joe Burrow is screwed again.
Well, they show they have the talent. I mean, they made the Super Bowl last year. I know sometimes that Super Bowl hangover doesn't work the next year, or maybe you got found out more and you're not as good or can't get away with certain things that they did, right? So
And they are the Bengals.
They are the Bungles.
If they went 0-16 this year, I would not be surprised. I know they won't, but it would totally be like the narrative. It's like, of course it did. Went to the Super Bowl, followed by 0-16.
That would be just crushing for their fans to finally get to that point where, yes, we got a good team.
Yeah.
We won. We actually won playoff games. We made the Super Bowl, and then the next season, right?
And Joe Burrow's like, I want big money. No? Trade me.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Cincinnati, we just told the story. We advanced the storyline for 2 years.
Exactly. Then you just blow it all up there when Burrow's getting $40 million a year.
As a Steeler fan, I wouldn't mind that. And he ends up in Pittsburgh. Just joking. Just joking. And Kenny Pickett, we trust.
Is Kenny Pickett getting into the game tonight? We'll find out.
No, please don't. Too early. Just get Matt Canada and throw some balls downfield. Shout out and a big shout out to one of my favorite Bombers.
Whoa.
What?
We didn't do our NFL predictions. If you want to do them quickly or what?
Oh, yeah. The NFL predictions.
Which we were also 1-3 each in our predictions last week. Sorry to bring that up.
Why are you sharing this information?
Just trying to be honest with where we were at the last. Like we were 1-7 last week in CFL, NFL total.
Oh my!
But anyways,
goodness.
Let's move on.
What's the first game of the week that we're looking at? That's horrible. What am I doing?
Buffalo, Miami. Buffalo at Miami. So 2-2-0 teams, both coming off. I mean, Buffalo, a resounding victory over the Titans and the Rams.
Yeah.
And Miami with that crazy comeback last week. Who you got?
It's so hard to take because Miami's at home. Always the weather and the humidity and the heat is a factor.
Yeah.
So I will take Miami.
Nice.
To surprise the Buffalo defense. I'll go with Tyreek Hill in his trash talk this week.
I'm gonna take Buffalo. Again, I'm prefacing that with hopefully they get all those guys that are on the injured list.
Yeah.
Mainly back, especially on D. Otherwise, Tua and Jalen Waddle are gonna go off quite a bit in that game. Should be a good game though.
I think they will. Come fourth quarter, the Bills will be a little bit tired and the Dolphins will go nuts.
Yeah. Should be a good one.
Fun. Yeah, absolutely. This is like the Dolphins are really fun to watch. And the Bills are always fun to watch. Like Stephon Diggs, top 3 receiver in the league, that guy.
For sure, man.
Ridiculous.
He is, and he was ridiculous on Monday night. What did he end up with? 3 TDs, right?
Oh, my goodness.
How many times in the past, how many years have we said a game that features the Miami Dolphins is actually going to be a good one?
It's been a while.
It's not something, and it's probably one of the games of the week that I would actually look forward to, kind of thing. So
it will be a good one. It will be a good one. How about Packers, Bucs? Who are you going to take in this?
I'm going to take the Bucs just because they're at home and Aaron Rodgers has no receivers whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the 4 that he have are all either injured right now or didn't practice this week. So who knows if they're even playing.
And Tampa Bay's defense is pretty prime. Yeah. They're looking good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not. The funny thing is, in this game in the past, you probably expect a shootout between, Tom Brady and Brett Favre. Jeez, Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about Brett Favre in a bit.
Are we? Really? We get to talk about Brett Favre?
Possibly. Brady and Rodgers. But they're both going to be minus receivers. They both haven't had a great start to the season at all. So we'll see. And I think it's going to be more defensive battle than Brady Rodgers shootout.
He doesn't have Mike Evans?
Suspended.
Oh, yeah.
For his stuff with Lattimore last week. Godwin's still probably out. Julio Jones is, of course, out.
And he's Julio Jones.
Yeah. He's got Cole Beasley now, though.
Tom Brady. Gotta get Gronk back.
He's probably been working that phone like crazy trying to get Gronk back in there, man.
Please, man, help me out, please. At least till week 12. Week 12 and they can go away again.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. How about Ravens and Pats? That's an interesting one.
Big game. They're both 1-1. Ravens want some revenge probably from losing that game to the Dolphins there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Ravens in this one.
Me as well. I think they're going to stomp on the Pats.
Yeah, the Pats, they impressed me a little bit last week. They're a little bit better on D, but like you say, with that Steeler offense, it's still hit and miss. So I don't know if I can credit that New England defense enough. So I expect the Ravens. I mean, they scored quite a bit last week. I expect them to put some more up this week.
I'm with you 100%. And I'm just not believing in that Patriot offense. They did well against a not good Steelers team that can't score last week.
Yeah.
This is a different team. Lamar Jackson can score, and he's
Can
playing
score.
for a contract. He's playing for a contract. Last game, Rams, Cardinals. Two teams kind of looking to make a next big step in who they are with a win. Conference game, your conference, the NFC West. Who do you got?
Yeah, both of these teams have been pretty unimpressive for the most part to start the season. I know the Cards and Kyler Murray looked great in the second half against the Raiders, but their first game, they got stomped. The first half, they were getting stomped.
Yeah.
The Rams, same thing. They got stomped by Buffalo, and they almost blew that game last week to Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, if Atlanta had any competence at the end there, because there was, Cooper Kupp fumble or whatever that set Atlanta in Rams territory, and they just couldn't finish. So both incompetent to me, but I'm going to go with the Rams.
Both incompetent. I'm still trying to kind of make my decision right now. I think I'll go with the Rams just because their receiving talent is so thin, and I know Kyler Murray. We called him AJ Brown a couple weeks. AJ Green. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was magic, but I don't think it'll get into that position with the Rams. And hopefully the Rams can get a running game going.
Yeah, that's the thing. If the Rams get up on, I mean, we said it last week. If the Rams get up on the Cards, you think it's over. But they were up on the Falcons, and the Falcons somehow chipped away, right? And that's against a pretty good defense.
And it's the Falcons.
Yeah, and it's the Falcons who, you know, they're usually the ones blowing leads,
Absolutely.
not coming back in games. So
historically,
yeah, I think it'll be a good game. Cards D still hasn't been great so far this year. I know they got better in that second half, but I put that more on the Raiders choking than the Cards D playing good. So
I said Rams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I said Rams.
I hope they both lose, actually.
That's impossible.
As a Niner fan.
It's a tie at least. Yeah. Watch, we'll still go 0 and whatever. Let's do the shout out now.
No.
Who next?
Let's do this Brickhead first.
Look, I'm just advancing to everything,
Yeah.
Okay, not shout out now. Brickhead.
Going back to Brett Favre. You know, we spoke about him earlier, the non-quarterback of the Packers anymore. Brett Favre gets my Brickhead of the week for basically taking welfare money to build a volleyball facility that his daughter was attending back in Wisconsin or
Mississippi.
So Mississippi, sorry. What the heck is going on there? You got whatever the governor guy giving all these guys money, all these guys. Yeah. The guy made 140 freaking million in the NFL alone, I believe.
Yeah.
Use that money to build a facility, man. Do not take this money.
It's a tax write-off, man.
Yeah.
It's a tax write-off. Donate and make the facility, and you can name it after yourself.
Exactly. But he's made questionable decisions ever since he left the NFL. So he gets
ever since he left. Are we forgetting about these text messages he sent to? Was
that still in the NFL or was that after the NFL?
Oh, I think he was still in the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it was after.
No, he had some text business going on.
Yeah.
Was he with the Jets? I think he was with the Jets.
Maybe that's right, because she worked for the Jets as well, right?
Don't forget about his stint with the Jets.
Can
we do a shout out now?
Yes.
We're giving it to one of the Bomber greats whose name will be over your shoulders there in the Ring of Honor, Joe Poplawski, one of the greatest Canadian receivers in CFL, one of the greatest receivers, period. 549 receptions, 41 yards receiving, and 48 touchdowns over a short career. He could have played another 3-4 years, broken 10,000 yards, but he stepped away, and he was great. Stepped away in 86, I believe.
Yeah, he had, didn't he have back issues or something like that? That's why I think he stepped away earlier than he wanted to, right?
Yeah.
He ended up talking about that 87 team and how good it was. Did he not play in 87? Or was 86 the final one?
86 is fine. Or it could have been 87, but I think 86.
Maybe I'm remembering the article wrong that I was reading, but he had talked about how good that 87 team was. And that's what James West had also told us, right? How good that 87 team was.
Maybe they were end up winning. Yeah, they're so good he had to talk about them.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
How far away are we from James Murphy getting on the Ring of Honor? And does James Murphy get on the ring before Milt Stegall?
I mean, if you're going, is Stegall not on there already? Steagall's on there, isn't he?
On the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, pretty sure.
We should check on that. Our stats are just horrible.
Yeah,
We're batting 0 tonight, friends and neighbors. Batting 0. Man, that through games last week, we're not doing well. We'll check the Ring of Honor.
I'm pretty sure
Steve notes on there.
James Murphy should definitely be another one. Even into next season or whatever. Do they do one a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kenny Plain's on there. Dieter Brock. Chris Walby was the first.
Yeah.
Bob Cameron's on there.
Yep.
Bob Irving.
Yep.
That's 6. I named 6. That's not bad. So there's a couple more years. We'll find out, and we'll talk about if Mistigo is on the Ring of Honor and when James Murphy should be on there and who's next and what.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys though, right? They're gonna have to build another stadium just to get everyone's names there, especially the guys from the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, I was like,
early 90s.
I was like, they still got to pay for this one, but that debt was forgiven. Thank you.
Paid off.
Yeah, from your boy Greg Sillinger.
Yes, thanks.
Greg Sillinger.
Sellinger,
I've already forgotten that guy. Any which way. Benny, you got anything to say to the people?
Just a quick mention, that contract, Nathan McKinnon, now the highest paid player in the NHL with that $12.6 million a year contract over 8 years. Crazy deal, but he's worth it.
Again, all these athletes going for that low base salary, big time signing bonus. That contract will not see the end of that contract. There's no way. Anyways, and some people criticizing, by the way, in hockey, Nick Suzuki for being too young as a captain. You think so?
I don't know, man. If the guy's a leader, why not? Judge him on the ice, judge him how he handles it. I mean, the fact that we're always criticizing someone before they even start off somewhere, it's like, give them a chance. Let's see what they can do.
Absolutely.
And go from there. Montreal's a pretty young team for the most part anyways. So who are you going with there? I mean, he's got Gallagher still there, right? So he's got the assistant captain. So he can help him along and stuff like that. So I see no issue, man.
Jonathan Toews got it the year after his rookie year.
Exactly. So,
and he's probably one of the best captains ever. What's his name? Yeah. Captain Sirius?
Yeah.
That's a great last name.
We'll see how Chicago does this year, though. He might not be too serious about that after.
Oh, my goodness. And in the famous words of Haley Wickenheiser, many times I had to dig deep and perform. All of that adversity helped me and drove me to want to be the best. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.